Hello everyone, this is Kyle, and I'm here to review the new motion picture, The Peanut Butter Falcon, um, directed by Tyler Nilson and Michael Schwartz, and it stars Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson, and it introduces a new actor to the film industry known as Zach Gottsagen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Um, this is one of my favorite films of the year. I saw the trailer to this and I was really excited to see it. It looked very interesting. It had a sort of humor to it and lightheartedness that I thought was quite appealing to me based on the trailer. But I really like it when you see actors like Shia LaBeouf and even Dakota Johnson that kind of start to step out of their comfort zones and start to take on roles that you wouldn't expect them to take. Um, Dakota Johnson's been making quite an interesting filmography for herself because many of the roles outside of 50 Shades of Grey have become very versatile and they're very, very different than each other. And I think Dakota Johnson's been picking some very good movies. Um, but Shia LaBeouf really is a standout in this film because with Shia LaBeouf, with the amount of drama he's had in the media and all the paparazzi stuff and everything. With all that aside, he is one of the best actors working today. And the thing with Shia LaBeouf is whenever I see Shia LaBeouf in something, I'm always interested to see it. I may not be able to see it because a lot of his films are like independent films, but this one I was glad that it was released, at least at my local Regal. So, with that going into it, I was very interested in seeing this movie, and I saw it, and my goodness, I was blown away. It's basically about this one character named Zach, who is who has Down syndrome and lives in a retirement home because no one can take care of him, and the only person that is really his friend, at least that isn't living there, is the character of Eleanor, played by Dakota Johnson. He has another friend in there, played by Bruce Dern, who I did not expect to see in this movie, and the last time I saw him was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I thought it was kind of funny that even though Bruce Dern was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for about 5 minutes, he was in this probably for the same amount of time. Yet I think I enjoyed him more in this movie because he was playing a character that I thought was more with it and was definitely, I think, more of a fun character to watch. Even though I did like him Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was really impressed to watch Bruce Dern in this film and to really see how different his two characters in a matter of a couple of weeks in these two movies were so different from each other. So I thought that was really cool. He was great in it. Um, Dakota Johnson gave a wonderful performance. She has like a sort of innocence to her, and she's really endearing. Like you can really kind of feel like you're talking to someone you know when you ever watch her in a film. Even if it's 50 Shades of Grey, you can still feel comfortable with her in this movie, and you can say to yourself, "Oh boy, if I saw her in, real life, I'd probably love to talk to her." And I thought she did a great job as this character who has some personal struggles in her life that she's had to deal with in her past. And one of the things I love about this movie is the way that it treats the past as if it's a memory and not as if it's an important plot detail. So you'll have flashbacks sometimes in this film that are essentially silent films, silent scenes in a movie where none of the characters in the flashbacks are talking, but it's the characters. It's really just Shia LaBeouf's character having these flashbacks, and these flashbacks are really, I think, well shot, well directed. They convey the emotion, the tone, the weight of what's going on without saying a single thing in them. So I very much like the flashbacks, and I very much like the way, as in Dakota Johnson's character's case, she is a character that has a lot to deal with, a very major event that happened in her life, but they don't really go into it too much. And I think that's a really smart choice on both the directors and the writers, and they are writers and directors, because it can become very tropey when you have a story where a character will say, "Oh boy, this happened to me in the past," and it becomes like a Nicholas Sparks novel. It's a great thing to have, but when they kind of don't end up going that route, it's kind of refreshing. So I loved her character, and Shia LaBeouf's character was very interesting. He plays a character named known as Tyler, and he's like this fisherman guy that is trying to make his own living, but he's going through some troubles in his own and everything. And it's a really, I think, great character because he's very flawed in his past, and he doesn't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy because the events of his past are what causes him to question if he has ever done anything good in his life. So that's I think, a great way to build upon a character and also to write a character out, because this character is a character that believes himself to be flawed, to not be the good guy. And it's when this character, Tyler, finds the main character, Zach, after he escapes from this retirement home, and they bond together in this film. And their bond, their chemistry, and their friendship is really what drives this film. And it's really what kept me interested. Because many of the scenes, whereas some of the people that um, Tyler has angered or misled or accidentally caused some type of problem with, those characters are not the ones that I find to be the most interesting characters in the movie. They are the characters that are the supporting characters who help drive the story forward, but it's really the heart and soul of the film that is the relationship between Tyler and Zach. And their bond is just really nice to watch. It is so heartwarming. It is so just emotional at times, and I really appreciated that I could watch a film in 2019 that wasn't just about the IP of the film overarching the relationships in the film. Many films this year have had issues with their story, and they have used their IP as an excuse to go over many, like for instance Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is by far not one of my favorite films of this year. But one of the issues I have with this film is that the relationships in Godzilla are very, very kind of hard to understand at times, and you don't really get a sense of connection between many of the characters in that film. Whereas this film, almost every character, and especially the main two characters, Tyler and Zach, their relationship is so key and executed so well in this film. And then there is Zach, played by this up and coming actor, I hope, named Zach Gottsagen. And he is just riveting in this role. Like, I'm watching this character and I can just feel for him, sympathize with him, laugh with him, just anything that you feel towards a guy that is so innocent and so, I mean, he's just he's like a bundle of joy, and it's just great to see another character in a movie in 2019 like a character like Zach. Um, And his relationship with Eleanor is also kind of sweet, and so is Tyler and Eleanor's relationship. And it's a movie about family, about people that are lost souls who found each other, and it's lost souls finding each other that have become a family. Kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, but many films are like this. But I loved the almost serene yet kind of dirty look of the film. It made it look like you were watching a film that wasn't glamorified up for the camera for like a major motion picture. It looked like a movie that someone may have shot on their phone, and they were just shooting what was happening in real life on their phone. It didn't look like it was like, oh boy, the cinematography looks like it's in the future or anything. It looked so real. It looked like it was actually happening. The story was great. It had many points where I was getting teary-eyed, and I didn't know where things were going. Thomas Hayden Church is in this movie. He plays a wrestler known as the Saltwater Redneck, and he is great. It's just a great movie, and I highly recommend it. I would give it a 10 out of 10, a plus, 4 out of 4 stars review. I think it's pretty much a perfect film. And I definitely had no sense of being bored. I mean, if there was a moment I would be bored, right before I got bored, it would pick up. The pacing was wonderful in this film. And what was funny about it too is many films this year have been very long. There have been a lot of films like Avengers Endgame, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Even Hobbs and Shaw, though I believe that was about 140 minutes or something. It wasn't as long, but it felt very long. A lot of films this summer and this year have been long. And a lot of these films have had moments where I feel like some of the scenes could have been cut, some of the scenes didn't need to be there. Whereas this film, if it was just Tyler and Zach talking to each other for another 10 to 20, even 30 minutes, I would have bought into it. Because the relationships and the way this film executes these relationships was so well done. I just didn't want it to end. So I would say that this film is not my favorite film of the year, but it is one of the best films of the year. And I hope that when the Academy Awards comes around, they don't forget this film like they do for many films of the year, and they give some consideration for it. Because I believe that Zach Gottsagen is really good in this to be nominated for an Academy Award, and so is Shia LaBeouf. But that's the Peanut Butter Falcon. And for those who don't know what the Peanut Butter Falcon means, I'm not going to spoil it, because I think it's fun to watch, even though it's pretty much in the trailer. But it's a fun scene to not if you don't know what it means, it's more fun to be surprised by it. So anyway, I apologize if I haven't been posting a lot of reviews online lately, a lot of videos. I've had a bunch of schoolwork to do, so now I'm trying to catch up and trying to get as many videos of all the movies I've watched recently. So anyway, I hope everyone has a good day and put a smile on your face.